I asked a friend to tell me a joke, so I'm gonna retell it now. A horse walks into a bar. The bartender, a grizzled old man with a perpetually tired expression, walks up from polishing a glass. Why the long face? He asks, already regretting it. The horse, however, doesn't even crack a smile. He simply stares at the bartender with an with an unnerving intensity. The bartender, unnerved by the silence, tries again. Seriously, though, what can I get ya? We got your standard lagers, some IPAs for the pets, and a surprisingly decent selection of whiskies for a place out in the sticks. The horse remains motionless. No whiny, no stomp of a hoof, just that unwavering gaze. A few minutes tick by, punctuated only by the distant hum of the beer cooler. The bartender clears his throat. Look, pal, I'm not running a charity here. You want a drink, or are you just gonna stand there making my regulars nervous? He gestures towards a couple of dusty cowboys hunched over a table in the corner who, to be fair, look more bored than nervous. Finally, the horse opens his mouth. The bartender braces himself for a deep, resonant, echoing voice, perhaps even a chuckle. Instead, a series of clicks and whistles, entirely characteristic of a horse, emanates from its uncharacteristic of a horse emanate from its throat. It sounds less like a creature of the field and more like a faulty fax machine. Come again? The bartender asks, genuinely perplexed. The horse, with what seems like immense effort, manages to articulate a single, drawn-out word. Water. The bartender stares at the horse. The horse stares at the bartender. The cowboys in the corner stop pretending to be bored and are now openly staring. Water, the bartender repeats, a note of disbelief in his voice. You came all this way, trotted into my establishment, caused this whole dramatic scene, and all we want is water? We got a tap in the bag, buddy. You know, through outside of your kind, for your kind. The horse, with a deep sigh that seems to vibrate the very floorboards, finally speaks in a perfect, normal, slightly hoarse human voice. Look, I'm a talking horse. Do you have any idea how many times I've walked into a bar and been asked why the long face? It gets tiresome, frankly. I need to mix it up. I need to subvert expectations, and frankly, after all that effort, I'm parched. So yeah, water. And perhaps for once, no existential commentary on the length of my muzzle. So I actually believe this joke is quite humorous because it is a reference to how horses have long faces, and I believe this is an incredible joke. However, it's not enough to become the voice of my incredible drawing, and so I'm gonna tell you another joke if I no, I'm not gonna. I don't have enough time, that's fine. Once upon a time in a land not so far away lived a man named Bartholomew. Bartholomew was, by all accounts, an ordinary man, save for one extraordinary problem. He needed a new light bulb. Not just any light bulb, mind you, but the light bulb. His living room, a space of profound philosophical contemplation, or at least when he read the newspaper, had been plunged into a rather inconvenient gloom for 3.5 weeks. Bartholomew, being a meticulous individual, didn't just rush out to the nearest hardware store. No, that would be far too impulsive. First, he needed to consult the sacred texts. of illumination, also known as his collection of antique whitening, whiting catalogs. He spent 3 days poring over faded images of Edison bulbs, incan- incandescent spirals, and even a particularly intriguing diagram of an early arc lamp that he briefly considered before dismissing it as too flashy for the Tuesday evening. After much deliberation, he settled on the Lumino Glow 6000, a bulb renowned, according to a rather dusty advertisement from 1947, for its warm, inviting glow and unparalleled longevity. The only minor hiccup, the Lumino Glow 6000 was no longer in production, or, as the helpful and slightly bewildered young man at the local hardware store informed him, "Sir, that bulb hasn't been made since before my grandpa was in short pants." Undeterred, Bartholomew embarked on a quest. He scoured flea markets, antique shops, and even a particularly dusty corner of the internet that seemed to specialize in forgotten household appliances. He encountered eccentric collectors who spoke of woman output with the reverence usually reserved for religious texts, and those with unscrumptious vendors who tried to pass off ordinary bulbs as rare pre-war glow casters. So guys, unfortunately I do not have enough time to finish these jokes. So next time I guess.